Open the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Dana have you talked to Mike today?
I texted with him, just asking how things were going today. And he said, good, that there's just people coming to see the waves, but
Of course.
for the most part, no one's swimming, they're gardening, so
No. Is he coming tonight?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll take, you have to be out of here by 5, right?
Or 5:15, I just have to be for sure over
We'll
there
get you out of here by 5. We're going to have a little brief talk with the Disabilities Commission. 2 of the members are here tonight about handicap access that you may want to.
Yeah.
And you can sit up here if you want.
Oh, all right.
If you want. Okay, Martin, if you want, you're going to, yeah, come right up, you know. I don't want to keep anybody any later than they have to be, so. Since we're short a couple of members, we won't do budget tonight, we won't do.
I'm doing a sleep study at 8:15 on Thorn Medical. We'll be out of here.
Good to see you both here.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us.
inviting us.
Thank you for
I
coming.
invited the members of the disability committee. I had a conversation with Martin, and it's in regards to possibly providing some means of better access to the town, to Cherry Web Beach. Because we all know if you're mobility impaired, even if you're not mobility impaired, it's tough to get from the parking lot to the beach and back, especially on a hot day when there's things going on. I know Martin and I had talked about a couple of ideas that maybe we were thinking of, and Mike had talked to Martin and everybody. So, one of the ideas, and well, I'll let Martin
Yeah,
jump
so
ahead. So,
just wanted to hash out some ideas. I know you guys have done this before, and it's kind of the first time for us, so we'd like to hear what the ideas are and the arguments for and against. I went down to the Cherry Web. I have not been there in years because of my disability, and I thought to myself, I'm going to try see if I can make it on my 2 canes. And I noticed, which I wasn't aware of, there were 2 hills, 2 inclines that are really tough to get up, but I got up there. And then I got past the Porta Johns, and then there was that really sandy section that I know that Chris Gonsalves has, pull that sand back. But anyways, that was tough there. So I made it all the way across to the lifeguard tower and talked to the guys over there. My thought was, for anyone who has a disability or a mobility issue, like myself, Elisa has suffered a stroke, and of course, we have a lot of elderly and so forth who can't get over there. Can we come up with some idea to try to help to get folks over there? Let me tell you something. I haven't been there in so long. I was so pleased to be there. It's such a beautiful beach, as we know. I think a lot of us take it for granted. So I'd love to see the availability for disabled folks, especially, to be able to get to the beach. So one of my thoughts was, could we do some sort of a shuttle service? Could we do? I know that the lifeguards have a UTV, all-terrain ATV, and I thought maybe something to that idea. Not necessarily the lifeguards doing that job. If we had to hire somebody, we would. I've spoken to a few town folks. Lisa and I were at the National Night Out with the police department did, and folks came up and talked to us, and the number one issue that came up was, what can we do about accessibility to Cherry and Webb? And so we thought we'd bring that up to you guys, and we would discuss it amongst the Commission on Disability as well. And I asked a couple of folks, would you be willing to pay extra money if we got some sort of a shuttle service? And they were very positive about it. One lady said up to $5. And she, we were already negotiating price. I said, how about a couple of bucks? And she said, a couple of bucks? I'll do $5. My point is, I think people are willing to pay. And I said, because some people are going to say, well, we pay a beach, sticker fee as it is. Shouldn't that be? No, that takes care of the beach maintenance and everything else, the lifeguards and so forth. What we need is a special fee just in case you use this this trolley, this vehicle. So I want to see what you guys thought about that idea, if it was doable.
What type of risk is there involved? Is there insurances that have to be looked at, to protect not only the employee, that would be providing the assistance for someone who is disabled, and if you've already explored this, what are the risk factors? we basically, when anyone approaches us, we always say that we'll research it, because we don't want to give someone false hope or make promises that we can't keep. I have to honestly say, being new to the commission, the Moby mats, and we did all the inspections of all the beaches, and everyone welcomed us, and they showed us where the Moby mats are, and they were very forthcoming, so we know that you do a tremendous job, in a positive light, not only to the people
Thank
in
you.
Westport, but the people who visit Westport. A lot of family members that are disabled come to these beaches with family members that live in town, and exponentially, we've received such positive comments with regards to that, so you're to be commended for all the positive things that we do receive that maybe you're unaware of, because they tell us, because we're the Disability Commission, right? But then in the same token, when we do have something that has been brought to our attention, there are people such as myself, depending on the day, and other people that have invisible disabilities. There are people that have visible disabilities that are in a wheelchair, but there are people like where I have a brain injury that you don't necessarily see it unless I actually have support with me, by the end of the day. Some people don't realize that I do have a disability. So I think in general, it's just really important to know that Westport is committed to helping people with disabilities with accessibility, and that's why we wanted to come and ask for your guidance.
Well, I mean, Martin and I had a conversation. My feeling is anything we can do, as long as we can do it, obviously is the way to go. I've talked about this on this committee for 20 years. Back when Lane Ostroff started the whole disability thing, and it was always a challenge. But also back then, the only thing we had was a vehicle. We only had a truck at the time. So that was logistically impossible, using the truck.
Sure.
And then, there was talk about a golf cart, and then there was talk about what's the liability, who's driving it, The concerns I've heard about a shuttle service is how we're going to run it, how does it get paid for, how does it, that's the usual, where does the money
Exactly.
come from to do such a thing? And logistically, how do we do it? Because I can't see it as being like a tram at Disney World where everybody gets on and, goes back and
no.
forth all
Right.
day long.
no,
and it
no,
just
no.
turns into a nightmare.
Right.
Every able-bodied person just happens to have, be tired at the end of the day and has a child on one shoulder
That's
and
right.
a cooler on the other. Are they going to want to do it, and who does that? I think it needs to be limited to handicapped
Exactly.
personnel. And
I
the
think-
issue would be lifeguards doing it. It's tough to do because they're busy doing
Of course.
something or everything, or
Yeah.
something, God forbid, something should happen while they're running out to the parking lot to, bring
That's
somebody
it.
up, and, what happens there, so.
We also thought of, and Martin came up with this as well as myself, that we had a designated telephone number that
Yeah.
we have already
We were
set
talking
up.
about that.
So if
We were
someone,
talking about a special.
yeah, if they knew they were coming to
Yeah.
the beach, they could call and give us a heads
Make
up.
a reservation
I
ahead of
mean,
time.
Yeah.
Exactly, and then we would
Because-
know.
Because usually the handicap, very few times, maybe you'll see one car every once in a while in the
True.
handicap spots at Cherry and Webb. I really
Exactly.
don't see a lot of handicap,
It's true. No, you're right. You're right.
But this would probably increase that use
Mm-hmm.
significantly if people know, because we give out beach passes to caregivers of people who can't drive anymore to the beach. And they get taken to the beach, who can't, the license has been taken away, or,
Yeah.
whatever they
don't have the
visually, or
capacity.
whatever, they can't just drive, and so they, or people who just have a 24-hour caregiver and they just want to go to the beach. And it doesn't necessarily mean Cherry and Webb, but East.
I see what you're
And-
saying.
And that is something we've always tried to do because, you're a Westport resident too, it's just they have an unfortunate circumstance surrounding them. So I'm all for anything that we can come up with and actually do.
Do you think that would be like one of the few solutions? I mean, I know you guys tried
I don't-
like a boardwalk before, well, the slats before, that did
The
not work.
boardwalk, it's just not doable because it's too steep up and down. to
Okay.
Make it
True.
handicap accessible.
That's a good point.
It'd
You'll
be
never
a
get a
little
wheelchair.
easier for you to get up and down.
Yeah.
But you still have to climb up the hill, down the hill, up the hill. And then the question came up is, okay, now that you're at the beach, what happens?
Yeah.
Right.
We had a woman, a couple women, I think, mentioned they'd like to see a Moby mat going from the Porta-John with a soft sand kind of
Yes.
stuff down to the beach.
Yes.
And we have it.
That,
Yeah.
and logistically, because that, if you see what's happening down there today, and the waves washing the sand up into the path again, it's something the lifeguards would have to keep brushing off on a regular basis, because that sand just blows right in. As much as you put it out, it blows right in. So that would be something that have to be looked at too. You know, how do we keep the Moby mat? And then once you get there, what happens when you get there? Like, if you're in a wheelchair, you're not gonna go much further than that Moby.
You and I talked about maybe a T
Yeah.
configuration where
That's
somebody,
like they do at Gooseberry. You
Yeah.
know, they have a little T
Right.
there, that's about as far
That's
as you're
cool.
gonna get, because,
Yeah.
you know, and then the question is, how do we run it back and forth? What kind of time frame are we talking, you know, 10 to 4 or whatever, you know, I'm not sure. These are all things to look at. Somebody suggested there must be a service maybe, or somebody that can do that. The town can pay to do that.
yeah,
And do we make it, and they said maybe not a full-time service, maybe a weekend, 4-day-a-week service?
That's what you- yeah.
Or, you know, I'm all for anything, as long as we can do it, you know, but budget is everything, and it's all about the money.
I have a question with regards to the beach pass that you just spoke about for people that have a disability and not able to drive. And the question that was posed to me is, the pass that you issue for that, is it issued to a vehicle or is it issued to the individual?
It's issued to a vehicle.
Okay, so my question is, if you have a person who lives in town, and let's just say their son or daughter comes from out of town, kind of like what the DCR gives, you pay that $10, and then when the placard is in that vehicle, as long as the physical person who is disabled is in that vehicle, it's actually registered to the person. Do we have that capability? Because what happens if you do have a child or a relative that doesn't live in town and wants to take their mom or dad that doesn't have the capability of driving? Would they still be allowed, or is it a different pass that we could issue that's registered to the individual?
We've been giving passes to the individual or individuals that may be the caregivers for the person involved. And it's been like visiting nurses, it's been a couple other, but we don't have a lot of requests for that, so it's not a problem. We foresee the time coming where we're gonna get a lot of these requests, and it's like, you gotta have some kind of control over
Right.
who's going to and from the beach.
Right.
And we don't like to issue blank passes to anything, because
No.
we feel that they'll get passed out to everybody and everything.
Right.
You know, like I said, we get very few, and we give them all out. I think every time we get a
Well,
request.
every place in Elephant Rock and
Yeah,
Spindle Rock have placards that hang.
right,
You could actually put it in another car.
Right.
yeah. Well, that's,
And and there's not a big problem because
that's how we used to do it. Because we used to have the mirror
Yep.
flags, now we have the stickers.
And I know the DCR, like for instance, I have one. If I was in another vehicle, I have to show my license because it's registered to me as an
but the
individual.
odd town has always had the vehicle
Right.
plate number on it.
Right.
And, you know, in the harbor, they don't do that. And so the placards could be used by, you issue, say, 2 for a family of members.
Right.
And then, you know,
Go to, whatever
whatever car
But
has it.
you have a limited audience too over there. When you have
Well, that's
4,000
true, but it's
4,000 passes is,
But,
you get a little more extent.
They still fill up a lot.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
We have 4,000 passes in town?
3,844 this year. As of when I asked Carlo the other day, it was Monday, I think. So,
Sean, I maybe shoot myself in the foot here. Let me just throw this out. How often have you guys heard that, you know, we need access, like somebody with a wheelchair? Because is it worth the money and everything we're doing here when we have Beach Avenue available and, you know?
well, Beach Avenue, you know, as much as you have Moby mats there, how accessible really is the beach?
That's another issue we could bring up.
Yeah,
Some other
yeah.
time that we
You
want
know
to go a
what I
little further with the movie mats there if we
There's
could,
one
but
thing about, symbolic, kind of access. You can get there, you can get out there, and you can get over.
That's
to
a good
that
point, yeah.
rock, you know
But
what I
you
mean?
can't really-
You're not really going to the beach,
Right, right.
It's nice that we can do something, because we have to do something. We're required by law. Baby Beach is probably a little more accessible,
That's
a little
true.
easier to deal with, just because you can park right there. East Beach would be a good option if we figure out a way, but it's so cobbly and there's
yeah,
other
it's
issues
a
there.
tough one, yeah.
Everybody wants to be at Cherry and Webb, but it's,
So the point is that I don't think we'd get, a ton of
right.
disabled folks asking for
Well,
this
that's why I think,
accessibility.
if we knew at the beginning of the year, if we had this, and I've checked with the town clerk, they can put a little HC after the number they issue for somebody who has a handicap placard.
Yeah,
So we know that there's, okay, we have 45 people or we have 445 people. We
Okay.
don't, you know what I mean?
yep,
Maybe now we have a service, we do get 445 and not 45. 'Cause I think a lot of people who don't buy passes because they know
It's not accessible.
difficulties of getting out there.
Right.
Like, why
Good
would you
point.
spend whatever, $50 for a beach pass if I can't get there?
right.
You know, a lot of people I know, one gentleman in particular, he's a veteran, he's a quadriplegic. He buys it just so he can go to East Beach, at least he can get out and just park himself
Park
right
himself
there,
there, sure.
right there, and
Yeah.
look out at, at least you have a view of the ocean.
I think most folks who are in a wheelchair, and I'm in one at night, would not go by themselves. You know what I mean? They'd go with a
gotta
caretaker.
go.
I had this-
It's going to be very difficult on any beach, I would think, but it's nice that they could go someplace to look and, at the vista, you know?
Yeah, and I had these conversations with Mike Wimet, and I've always talked to
You
about
have.
many years, God rest his soul, for many years about the access. He was a big proponent of the Beach Avenue and everything, because he was
Thanks to him.
wheelchair bound, and he had friends carry him out to Cherry and Webb, and he'd handicap surf and do all the things
There you go.
that he realized that was the problem. I mean, everybody looks at Cherry and Webb and it's like, how do we get from here to there? It's 1,000 feet, and 1,000 feet of not very flat or accessible land. But we have other people who, I'm only going to call them handicapped, but are
Mobility
mobility
impaired,
impaired.
yeah.
Knee replacements, hip replacements, things along that line, who have been emailing us and saying, hey, we got to do something.
Yeah,
And it's really
Okay.
hard. It's like, it's a beach, it's sand, it's just soft, it's just hard to walk. Able-bodied people
Mm-hmm.
have problems walking, it's,
Well, that brings up another issue, though, then. Are we going to include folks who have had knee replacements that are temporary
well, and this is the
disability?
question. Yeah, that's what I mean. We
It's a
don't want to turn this
catch-22.
into,
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a
You can't say no to
catch-22.
them, they're going to be like, oh, I
because
can't
people-
walk.
People have knee replacements, hip replacements, and they want to go, and, until you're fully recovered or mostly
Sure.
recovered, you're not going to probably make it.
exactly.
I don't know if you've tried to do it, Lisa, recently at all. Have you tried to go out to the beach at all recently?
Cherry
No,
Webb, no.
it's, so I've only been newly out on my own for like the last 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
So it took me almost 3 years
Because,
to get back on my feet,
She's a perfect example
Yeah.
of,
Somebody could use it.
of somebody who,
Yeah,
would be like a knee replacement type thing where you can walk, but it's very difficult for her
Right,
to walk. and
right.
But she's getting better eventually, maybe, and hopefully. So how do we make that work for somebody? I just don't want to turn it into a ambulatory tram that.
exactly.
That's right.
Now we got everybody out there. Let's say we got everybody out there at 11 o'clock.
Hmm.
Now what happens when like 3 want to leave and you can't leave because you're doing something down the beach?
Okay, before we tackle that issue,
I think
could
when-
we hire a company per se versus
I don't know
putting
if there's
somebody
That's
on,
what somebody said to look into to see if there's a company that would provide a service or something like that.
even like on the weekend, or, like a minimum of 2 or 3 days?
Yeah, I mean, weekends, holidays, the day, those are the most crowded, but maybe there's days in the week, maybe it'd be better if it was days of the week.
There is some
not
grant
crowded.
money, too, that's available. I checked into not too long ago, too, so we might be able to get some grant money that would help fund it. And I know that it might be something in consideration with the Disability Commission, too, that we were
I
looking
think
into
ideally
funding
is
it
to
as
have a
well.
plan,
Well,
a
we-
real tight plan.
When we were dealing with the town landing at Hicks Bridge, we were talking about getting handicapped people into our rowing boats.
Yeah,
Yes,
And I think we were talking to, Wounded Warriors Project.
yes,
And there were
Yeah.
people who were
There
in.
must be some,
they do. And they have lifts, that actually go on docks now, because I saw one. in-
Well, what I found out, I had a friend who
Yeah,
had he had a disability problem. And
Yes.
he loved to sail.
Yes.
But he lost his balance, could barely walk.
Mm-hmm.
I found and I had a skiff that I used to go out to my sailboat. And he couldn't, and he'd sail every day, but
Yep.
he couldn't do it. So I could bring my skiff into a beach, and he could get one leg into the, flat bottom boat, right?
good for him.
He could get into the skiff more easily from the beach than he
Exactly.
could from a dock.
Absolutely.
And when we do this project at, say, Hicks Bridge, what I would recommend when we get down to the final plan is have a Moby mat going right to the shore.
Sure.
Find a good stretch of beach or where you could bring one of the rowboats right to the beach. Because believe me, I have a hard time myself getting in the boat from a float.
Right.
And that's much easier for me now to do it from a beach.
Absolutely.
Much easier for him.
Sure. Solid ground.
Couldn't have done it from a dock.
No, but it's amazing, though, that, people are willing to come to the table to kind of figure it out. We went to the yacht club not too long ago, and we've been doing a lot of outreach from the commission, and they were very open to us coming to do a presentation, and they were asking us questions, too, about what other yacht clubs are doing for people that want to access and be a part of a family outing that happen to be disabled. So we're exploring different things.
Well, I
and-
know Dick Squire,
Yeah.
was in a wheelchair for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And his family got a pontoon boat,
Yeah,
and if he timed it right, he could come right into a dock.
yeah.
It's pretty good. There are ways.
There are ways to do it, I know.
So I don't know if you want to.
So my suggestion, my suggestion would be if the Westport Disability Commission would be so kind enough to maybe do a little research.
Sure.
To see what kind of companies offer that kind of shuttle
Sure.
service, so we can get an idea of the cost.
Yeah.
And then, you can maybe give that to us via email, or I'd be happy to take it and then.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, I
pass it
mean,
on, or-
if you want to do that, if you want to take it, anything I can do to help.
Thank you. Hey, just having us here is wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, I just don't know what it is.
I know,
can do.
I know. Well, that upsets me, because if you don't know what it is, I don't know, we're gonna come up with any
Well,
novel
it's
idea,
not
but,
like- It's not like this is, this is the first time anybody ever thought about it.
well, exactly. You guys have been working on it for
Somebody
years.
has thought of it somewhere, and somebody
Yeah.
has solved it somehow.
Exactly.
Well, I think, though, having the gator, or whatever.
Right.
John
Yeah, I mean, the
said,
gator would be a,
I think that's, I mean, what that would require if the lifeguard said, okay, no problem, it'll all be, to
They could do
use
it, right.
I think the concern
It
is
would
that
be-
you don't want to take lifeguards off their post.
Well, no,
Right.
hire someone.
So you're
Hire
saying
another person.
that person would just use the gator?
All they do.
Or they would be a floater, like not necessarily
yeah,
at
and
a
maybe they're
post,
a
but be able
part-time,
to.
10 to 2, 10
Yes.
to
Yes.
4.
Has to be, yeah.
Could
So-
be somebody.
Specific time.
Full-time if you have
Oh,
enough
wait,
money,
and,
Yeah.
but no, I'm serious. I think that there is a need, and
Oh, nice,
Absolutely.
for a
Thank you.
parking lot attendant
Yeah.
right.
to be visible at the gates. I mean, that's the one thing we don't have, which we should.
What's the purpose for that? What do you mean, to collect,
Well,
why?
no,
Psychologically.
Knowing that there's a
it's-
post there,
it's
that
just
they're not
someone,
necessarily on the beach.
Oh,
to keep people with it to
There's
be
a
able.
security issue and there's a parking issue.
Yeah,
Right.
to make sure that people.
But then they could do.
And then
could
they
be
would
doing-
provide the transportation
Yeah,
if
they
it was
could
in the
cost
budget.
That person.
Gotcha.
It doesn't have to be a certified lifeguard.
right,
Because we
right.
do this I know the Spindle Rock Club has an employee, and all they do on weekends is
Sit by that
sit
gate.
under an umbrella at the gate,
Yeah, yeah.
and there's not a lot to do.
Right,
And
so,
so they pull them off if there's some,
yeah.
So that might solve two issues.
Yeah,
One
if
being the
possible, and- and that
that would
transportation
be
part.
one employee.
Right,
And if it's not in our budget, then. I
Maybe
think,
we could
you know,
subsidize it.
Between the recreation department and
or the
the
commission,
facilities department.
No.
And
No, they-
getting a grant.
Correct.
This person.
correct.
Absolutely.
And
That's-
The grant would be the big thing, because now you can say, okay, the grant's putting so much money into the project.
Right,
And then you have, hopefully, a chance to get the town to
Correct.
follow through with it. But I know that the money from the beach passes, maybe you can explain that?
Well, I don't, well, 3844 so far this year. I don't know how that breaks out in $25 passes and $50 passes. But, our budget for last year was 192,000 and change. which
What's the s-
3844 will just about cover. We
what's
do
the
have a slush
season,
fund.
what's the season, Sean? How many weeks are we looking at for an employee? If, just.
Well, we
ballpark.
typically start the second Saturday in June till Labor Day, whatever that is. That's typically what we run for a beach season, I guess you call it. And sometimes it's a week or two longer, depending on when Labor Day is real early this year. It's the
Right.
first.
Right.
So it's a real short season this year. And so that's what you're looking at, and it's a number of hours per week, obviously, times salary and how that all works out and everything like that. And it could be very simple to do a part-time or
Sure.
whatever the case may be, but we'd have to look at finances, how that's gonna work.
And we did have a couple of companies reach out that they would be willing to donate the gator.
Well, that would be good if you had sponsors and stuff. to
Yeah.
Right.
You
So
know,
we-
that
There's
would
a
be.
lot of ways
We'd be
around
willing to
it.
do that, to get sponsorship for
That'd
anyone
help
in
with the
town
budget.
or any other company that
Big time.
provides gators that would, that, of course, they'll have their name on the gator, but, at least it would be a way for us
Sure.
to have that piece of equipment that wouldn't break into the budget.
So a couple of things. One is, if you're using the Gator by a parking attendant / shuttle person, and the Gator is most of the time in the parking lot, my only fear is that if there is a real emergency and the guards need that Gator
we have
to
a
rush
radio.
No, we.
down the
up.
beach.
Well, the plan
You're
would
a
be.
parking attendant,
Separate
not a
gator.
lifeguard.
We kind of discussed this a little bit, Martin and I, is like, the Gator stays out at the beach.
Yes,
When somebody who's required, if the Gator's not being used, they just text or call one of the lifeguards and say, hey, run it down, run it back, or he runs it, he walks and gets it.
Goes and
back.
gets it.
okay.
And it depends on, obviously, it depends on how many people are using this thing. If
Right.
you have 30 people show up in an
Right.
hour, it's
Right,
gonna be
then you got a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have a
Yeah,
problem.
and
I
If
would
it's
think
three
you'd want to
people a
use the
day-
radio system instead of a phone, because phone usage is kind of spotty out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, but a radio would be very simple.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, the lifeguard should have.
handicap pass 500 is in the parking lot and needs transportation to the beach, and boom.
The only other thing, well, a couple things. One is the Piping Plovers and Mass Audubon. They have said that we should be limiting the use of any vehicles or gators on the beach and path. So that might come up as an issue.
Right, well, were you only using the path? Now, if the birds are on the path, and 2 years ago, I think they actually were nesting on the path. That
Oh,
was
no
a
kidding.
Big problem.
Oh, it's-
That's a big problem for everything involved.
Sure.
Right.
Clear it, and everybody was upset and all the other stuff. But as
There's
long
a
as
lot-
we're
there's a-
past the parking lot, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a liability issue.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
this.
Exactly, the insurance then would come into play, and that
Well,
would
there's a
be
blanket on
something that we would
There's a
get.
blanket insurance policy
Yeah.
on all liability for
Yeah.
town vehicles and stuff.
Right.
But the issue would be the driver, I'm not sure how, if the driver has to be a full-time employee or how that whole works. I haven't considered that, but we'll cross that bridge when we
Yeah,
get to that
yeah.
point. you
And
know.
I believe there is also a stipulation, and don't quote me, though, I think the particular individual has to be 18 or older.
Yeah.
It
they have
can't be
to on,
like
yeah.
16 and just got their license,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
17
Well, you
and
want
just
somebody
got their
experienced,
license.
yeah.
So 18 years and older, from what I
But,
understand.
and these things that all can possibly be worked out, we just gotta figure out how to do it.
Okay.
We've got some time until next year, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's get
At
to
this
work on
point, you know, but we should work on it right away, because if it's a budgeting thing, the only chance we get to do anything, as we found
Yeah,
out this year again, is May.
And I've had good luck with local foundations.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Council on the Aging might be able to come up with a volunteer.
There are, you just have to find out what the foundations locally are. And, a
think
couple of
it-
times I've given the name of the foundations to organizations, fundraisers,
Yes,
and all of a sudden there's a six-figure donation.
Right.
I think it's a research thing, so if you're
It's just
willing,
you have to pick the right one
Yeah.
and match it up.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, Sean,
if you're willing to do the research, we're willing to support it.
absolutely.
We didn't want to do it without having their
Right.
guidance.
Oh,
and
no, I.
blessing.
wasting our time,
I'm
you
not
know?
sure
Yeah.
the best way to do this, because it's a difficult problem.
It is a
to
difficult
solve.
problem.
That access, we thought of we tried the whole possible handicap ramp. I remember Elaine, and we tried that, actually over at the Beach Avenue. And that met with a rousing boo over there.
Yeah.
So, we need to do something. I just don't know if we can or will be able to, but we should.
Okay.
You know,
I would think the other valuable feedback from your committee would be a proposal of which days and times
Yes.
would this service be available?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming weekends would be
Yes, sir,
important,
I would assume too.
but then I don't know if you'd also want weekdays. And, the guards are out there 9 to 5 every day in the summer. So if that's the requirement or the need, then we would have to look at the cost of that for an attendant / shuttle person.
Right, and I think Martin brought up a good point. I mean, most people that have challenges in their lives have a window, like from, 9 to 2, because they have to be home at a certain time and eat at a certain time, and they
Yeah.
have to facilitate with their challenges in life. So it's usually not an all-day thing. I mean, Martin and I can attest to it, we're only good for so many hours a day, and then we're
3:00
we're
nap
done.
time.
So yes, and we're mindful of that as well.
Yeah, just a
Very good.
recommendation would be great.
Sure.
Any suggestions, and then we can figure out how we go from there,
Yeah.
I guess. I mean,
And also, I think that I was at a meeting on the Barrier Beach the other night.
Oh, yeah, we were there.
And
We were there.
There are serious issues with,
Disability.
I mean, handicap access
Yeah.
and Barrier Beach preservation are basically incompatible.
Yeah,
Well, because you need to have a.
So, therefore,
yeah.
I would ask you and your people, if what are other locations where you would like to see handicap access?
We appreciate
In
that.
addition to what we have now.
Yes.
Because I think some of the access that you have now could be threatened by,
Yeah, I agree with you.
preservation, for
Yeah.
example.
Well,
We went to that meeting, as a matter of fact, and they did touch on it very lightly, but they invited us to that meeting as well.
The watershed the other night?
No, we went down
Well, that was
to,
I
another.
asked
Oh, there's one Monday night, right?
Monday.
Yeah.
yeah, we went to the one before that.
Oh, yeah,
with all
Concord.
to
Residents, yeah.
include you as part of, because one of the concerns I have is nobody ever, it's sad to say, thinks about your issues when it comes to,
Oh, but now that we're on the commission, you will hear.
Yeah,
well,
Now, we like to be out there, but I mean, I agree with you. A lot of times people don't understand what the Commission on Disability does. We're kind of a
No,
little
no.
quiet group, but,
again, and as the town gets older,
we're all.
yes, yes.
I look back and
Yes.
forth.
And
As
I
the town
also-
gets older, we're all getting older. We're not as.
All gonna need the
mobile as we
access.
used to be, and it's
Absolutely.
not just handicap, it's an access period.
But it's-
And I can't think of her name, at the Wood Hole Group said, I can help you with that. 'Cause I had a phone conversation with them a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, yeah?
I said, how can you help us with that? Because we had been talking,
Yeah, we did talk a lot.
and I said, well, let's see what we can do here.
Good.
There may be a better option than even what we're thinking of.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't think this is the first time I ever thought of it. So there's got to be a solution out there somewhere.
And the nice thing is we're getting a lot of calls because people do want to, I mean, not only that it's a compliance issue, but they're opening more doors for us to participate, and we
Well,
enjoy
it
that.
should, and it should be done, so, anyway.
One
You'll have
other-
my support 100%. I taught special education in Westport
Oh.
for 33 years.
Wow.
Thank you.
So-
Thank you so
Your name,
much.
sir?
Joel Sullivan.
Joel Sullivan. We don't know who
And this
everybody
is,
is.
I'm sorry, we don't know who you are.
Woody, Underwood.
Woody. I'm Lisa Feidelberg, and
Yeah.
And you are?
I have Lisa Feidelberg Costa. He says we're married. He's Martin Costa, but we're not
You
married.
related to Joe?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I worked on his house a lot.
Yeah, I'm aware, yes. I recognize the name now that you said it, but I didn't, sometimes you don't know who you're speaking with, so I appreciate that.
Well, listen, thank you very much for your support.
Yeah. No
We'll take the ball
Yeah.
from here and then report back to you guys.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up one more thing.
Sure.
Regarding the complaints we heard through email about the sand buildup. You mentioned it a bit. And I know you said they always plow in the beginning of the season.
Yep.
The highway department does. Do they normally plow mid-season or July?
You're not supposed to because of the whole bird thing.
Okay, so, but then I think they did this summer because there was such a
Yeah,
buildup.
yeah.
So with something like that, is there a standard that we should be doing or striving for? Or is it just based on weather and like what the lifeguards recommend or something?
It's hit or miss. You could clear that path and get a southwest wind blow 2 feet of sand in there.
Right.
In a day,
Right,
and
But could it be cleaned every day by the lifeguards, or they don't have the time for that? If we put Moby mats down, I'm talking about.
Well, that's what I mean. That's going to be difficult because, the sand, there's two things that do it. People walk up, they carry the sand a little bit. It's like,
Okay.
but it's just, you can have a storm like we're having right now
This'll do it.
and boom, and you'll have 2 feet of sand on it overnight.
Oh, you will?
Yeah.
That much?
And that's where the problem comes.
I gotcha.
Because they're out, snow shovels cut.
Right.
And then what do you do with the sand? Because now you have to clear the whole path again. You're not supposed to be dumping it on the beach because the birds are on
Yeah,
the
and
beach.
that's,
And
that's
I know
not,
nobody
that's not
likes
even
the
a storm
birds, but.
surge.
so
Right.
like in a
No, the
weather
birds have
event like
more
we're
rights
having
than
right
people.
now, will the highway department be plowing it again before Labor Day
We
or?
asked them to.
Okay, so it's kind
The
of
birds will
like
be
a,
gone. The birds will be gone after this. There'll be no
Yeah,
birds on the
yeah.
beach Because it was up to the dunes, I told you the other night.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but again, you can do that and then a month from now,
sure, of course.
here we are again.
So I guess like if the public asks, we say it's always plowed in the beginning of the season, the summer season.
Yep.
And then depending on weather and conditions, we can look at plowing it again if need be.
Right. But again, it's not something we typically do because you're not supposed to be transporting materials on
Right.
Barrier
Right.
Beach and
Right.
moving things around. you know, any more than you gonna
Then-
have to for emergency.
Of course, of course.
Disability aside.
Right.
Right.
Maybe that will solve some of the problem, but, you know, the sand wasn't really horrible despite the complaints. I went down the next day and walked it. It wasn't really that bad, but it is for somebody who's getting mobility impaired,
Right.
you know. But then they did it, and like 2 days later, it didn't look like they did it,
Wow,
Wow, yeah.
that's a problem.
you know.
And so-
that's- I don't know what you do about that. You
Right.
can't go down there every
Yeah.
2 days and
Right.
keep plowing
Right.
it.
So I guess we would probably want to consider, if we were to implement this service with a gator or something, that it be also for seniors or people who really struggle with that
Well,
sand.
that's what, see, that's kind of what I'm trying to avoid actually, is because how do you determine
A disability and a
who's
senior.
eligible for the
Disability sticker.
Right.
Disability.
You know,
Placard.
it's really easy
Yeah.
to have a handicap placard and say, oh, it's very obvious here. But like I said, everybody who, geez, I hurt my knee pain
Right,
the other
right.
day, you know.
I think you have to have people apply for the service.
Yes.
Right,
And
At the beginning
you
of
have
the
a li-
season.
And you have a list, and
Yeah.
people, somebody gets a car, and you make it, you know, certain qualifications.
Right.
You know, do you have a placard in your car, for example? 'Cause
Right,
that's,
yeah.
you know, that's easy to identify.
We can, Carla can add a code to the beach pass. I just used HC because of handicap, right?
Sure.
And you apply at the beginning of the season, that way we don't have the problem that I went down for the day and now I'm just tired and I just can't make it back.
Right.
You know, because
Right.
it'll turn into, the whole world wants to shuttle back.
Absolutely.
No, I
No, we
understand,
understand
but
that.
I think if we're gonna make accommodations for folks who have, you know, disabilities that have a placard, I mean, there are folks.
In your car.
In your car.
That's what justifies someone.
I could see someone who's a senior, like you say, with a bad hip or knee, saying that they need help as well.
Yeah.
Disabled,
It could also-
in order
Keep
to
it
get
simple.
a placard in your vehicle, it's not just you go online and get it. You have to get your doctor's information. If you
Right.
get Social Security disability, you have to prove that. There's a whole format that you have to follow that justifies, like I had to go through because I am disabled. And so when you have all of that information, when you have a placard, you've met the state's compliance and you are deemed disabled.
Yeah.
Now, and the reason why your photograph is on it is so, I mean, it's $1,000 fine if someone else is using your placard.
Yeah.
And you can lose your license up to 60 days. So there's a lot of things, like when you are
Right.
disabled, you are disabled.
And I'm not arguing that point. I'm just saying we might still hear those complaints
Oh, no, I think you.
from folks who still
I think you're
can't.
gonna get that anyway.
Yeah, who are gonna have the deep sand and can't walk through
I get
it.
earfuls all the time.
Yep.
And it's really, and from people who just, they're tired, you know, at the end of the day, or it is a tough walk. In the winter, it's real tough. So I understand that, but we can only do so much. You can't make Mount Everest accessible to somebody who can't climb Mount Everest, you know what I mean?
But it's a senior too who can't walk that well or that far or has shortness of breath,
Yeah.
more than likely could get a placard.
Yeah.
Right? Because I mean, the doctor would
They can
say, yes, they
apply for it.
can't, they can't.
Yeah, they can apply for
So
it.
my
Yeah.
point is then we,
So they've done all the work, so when they come to get, I apologize, if they come to get the pass, they're gonna bring their placard and show, I am disabled, and then that would qualify for the town to legitimize and say, like, on that,
Right.
that code, they have a placard, it is issued by the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, they're deemed disabled.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do.
I'm just saying that
No.
if somebody comes up and you're saying,
Yeah.
you know, the best, I guess what I would say to them is, well, why don't you go talk to your doctor, because if you really can't make that,
Yeah, because I don't want to turn this into a town clerk problem where, well, I really want the handicap pass.
Yeah.
I really can't do it, you know.
Right.
Right.
I don't want them spending any more time than they already do on something.
right,
Exactly.
right.
Right.
You have to
One,
make it as simple.
one thing that could be done is the handicap pass is necessary for the parking spot. So removing the pass from the car is blah, blah. But anyways, if you just make a copy of it, and when you're standing at the bus station, you just show the copy. And you can leave your pass in the car so you don't get a ticket.
Yeah, well, I think that we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's do step number
It's-
one.
And like you said, I mean, everyone's coming to the table with the ideas, and I think we have to just have a clear mission and see
Right.
what works. And I think just with allowing us to attempt to address it and having your support is
Right.
more than we could ask for.
Yep.
Right. Well, that's what we're hoping to get when I get the phone call from Martin.
I know, and then he
I was-
calls me, he's like, you need to come with me and go see Sean, and I was like,
Well, no,
okay.
you don't have to come, but it's always helpful. And again, somebody has figured this out. I just don't know who it is, and we'll have to figure out who
Sure.
that person is.
Sure.
And we're in the process also, just so that your board knows, is we're also been invited to other disability commissions. So we're going to be going to other cities and towns to see what they're doing, and maybe through.
And who knows, maybe
they've
somebody
already
have done
addressed
it.
Yeah,
this,
maybe.
and we
You
can
never
just
know.
copy
Oh,
their.
yeah.
I don't want to reinvent.
You don't have to
the wheel.
reinvent the wheel.
What's that?
Exactly.
I don't want to reinvent the wheel just to make
Yeah,
it
right.
fair.
No,
No,
but they
absolutely.
might have already addressed this in
Well,
another
they might.
area, and they might
They've gotten
say,
grants.
Never know.
exactly, Lisa, you need to do this, or Martin, do this, and you guys should be good to go.
So why don't, we meet in another month?
Okay,
You want to come back in a month, or
Yes.
do you want to talk about it?
sure, of course.
Okay.
Do you have a date when you're meeting? Sorry to bother. I'm going on vacation, so I want to find out.
Third Thursday, and I don't know when that is.
Okay.
Third Thursday in September, sir?
Something like that.
Yep.
It would be the 18th?
That would be the 18th.
And
That
it's
was
at
the- that was the
4:30?
date.
Yeah.
That was the date to go to New Bedford Council Committee on Disability.
Is it
Yeah.
at 4
But
o'clock?
I don't know what time it is.
I
We'll
think
figure it
it's
out.
earlier in the day.
Okay.
Okay. We
It
will,
would be the 18th unless something, if we don't have a quorum, I kind of like, I always poll before I post.
Okay.
See, make sure we
We'll
have
go
a
with
quorum,
quorum.
'cause there's no
You
sense
can
having
go
one.
there.
okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks for your
Thank
time,
you.
you guys.
Thank you.
Dana,
Thanks.
for seeing you. Thank you for
Good to
coming.
see you.
You too. I'll call you tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, gentlemen.
No, thank you. Now, you know you have to run, Dana, so I'm gonna make a couple, I want to go.
Yep,
a couple things
sure.
real quick. So I was hoping to go over the lifeguard closing issues.
Yep.
One of the things that didn't happen last year is getting the stands off the beach. Preferably get them up here. I know that's gonna be difficult with the new chair. Because
Wait, I'm sorry, what?
the chairs have to get off the beach when they leave. Last year they left.
Oh,
them on the
you mean
beach.
when the beach season is over?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, everything has to go, the equipment has to be out of the trailer. I think Mike knows all this. The lifeguard chairs didn't come off last year. I had to get the highway department down there in November to get them out of there. Make sure, so we can, tell Valtran to come get the storage trailer and get it out of there. So I need to get all the equipment up here to the town hall. I don't care if they leave early to do it, but they just gotta do it.
And do they do that on the very last day?
Yeah.
And obviously they can't move the chairs because the highway department does that.
They moved them yesterday up to the dunes because of the surf, so.
They did?
Yeah, they can put it, one of them fits in the back of the truck. The new one doesn't necessarily fit in the back of the truck.
Yeah, because I saw how the beach or the highway department used like the big truck thing.
Well, that makes it easy, but
Yeah.
it's gotta get off the beach, is what I'm saying. Somehow, they can coordinate with the highway department, I can coordinate with the
Yeah.
highway department, but they're not gonna be there on Monday.
And where do the chairs get stored?
We tried to bring them in the garage up here,
Okay.
but we kept them in the parking lot last year because there was no way of getting them up to here, so.
Do you prefer the garage then?
It keeps them out of the weather.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Make them last a little longer anyway, you know, you don't need to be out in the snow and the rain. That's all, and then I'm gonna get a budget report. I was hoping to have full board here and do it. So we see this, the next meeting will be the end of the lifeguard payroll, so we'll know what we stand for next year. That's all. I don't know if you have anything.
Just that I've been in contact with Mike, our head guard, every day this week, just asking, with the impending hurricane, what are they predicting? And so Mike was very good about watching all the reports, talking with Chris Boyle from Horseneck, agreeing to kind of emulate the two beaches of what was going to happen. So the waters, from my understanding, were closed on Wednesday. Wait, okay?
Yesterday.
Yes, Wednesday. Was it closed Tuesday?
No.
Okay. So Wednesday, Thursday, that's today, and then possibly Friday and Saturday, weather depending. So he said that mostly it's people just going there to look at the waves and not swim, obviously, or not like sit out on the beach.
Surfers were out there down at Gooseberry today.
Yeah.
It was funny, yesterday, I was on the Gooseberry at 5:30, it was really bad. This morning wasn't bad at all.
It
Oh,
wasn't.
interesting.
I was
There
there
was no
too.
wind, it was rolling in, but it wasn't smashing
Right.
over the car. So,
And then I did notice that there was a notice on the Town of West Sport website. Did you guys do that, or did someone from the town do that?
I asked Jim to have it, because they
Okay.
changed the whole website and there was no beach committee page.
It's on there. I think
It is?
it's, yeah, it's just like you have to find it a different way now.
Well, I said, if I can't find it, somebody who's looking for it.
Yeah.
Be able to find it, so it's gotta be, I told him, put it on the main page.
Yes.
that Everybody's gonna be logging on and.
Yes, it
because
was on
the
the main
website,
page.
It was like, yeah, good luck trying to find it.
Yes, so I did check it, and it was on the main page
Okay.
in a corner when you first log
I asked
on.
Jim to,
So that was
whoever was
good.
in control to do it,
Yeah.
just to.
Yeah.
Because, and we changed the sign, the flashing sign says beach closed until further notice, so.
Okay,
We're good on all that, I think. So I just didn't want everybody, I know everybody's gonna go down there and look at the surf. I wish they wouldn't, because it just causes problems.
Sure.
In regards to watch people.
Sure.
People tend to drift down the beach next thing. There were 2 people swimming last night when I went down there. So, nothing surprised me.
right.
You know.
And they're just parking on the street.
They parked, I walked down to look at the beach, and I was locking up, and they were in the surf, and they saw me, and they got out of the surf, and they walked, and they went flying by me, going back up the path, and I don't know where they went after that.
Interesting, okay.
2 teenage, 20-year-olds.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So,
But that's really all I have.
okay, yeah, that's all I have too. I just want to make sure because I just don't want I want him to remember to do all this stuff.
Yep, sure, I can go over all that with him.
Chris is
Um,
very good with working with me and stuff like that, but, he doesn't want to be lugging chairs all over the place, until it's time. So I just want to make sure they get everything off the beach, everything out of the trailer.
Yep, okay,
That includes the gator. The gator has to come back up here.
yep, okay.
All right, that's about all I have for
Okay,
you
yep, that's
so
it.
far.
Okay,
So, okay, perfect.
all right, thank you.
Okay, have a good concert.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, have a good rest of the meeting.
Thanks for all you do.
Oh, well, thank you.
So we don't have a lifeguard handicap beach discussion, beach closure, town clerk report, 3844. It's about 500 down from last year. So,
Chunk of
10
change.
Yeah, I'm not gonna review the budget, there's nobody here, parking lot closure. We're closed for this storm anyway. Unanticipated issues. Do you have anything?
Just what you gave me, and I'm
Okay.
happy with
I
that.
sent everybody, we've been going back and forth, we being me, Dana, and Chris Dunn, police chief, about the East Beach closure. Neither one, you were here for what?
Yeah, well, I was there, and I
Yeah.
Would you
I
go,
read the article, the
explain that to
And the
me?
article kind of,
Shorelines article.
yeah, I love it when they
Right.
kind of like take things out of context and make it appear a different way of what I said and how I said it, but.
What is the East Beach closure?
Well, we had, for the last 7 or 8 years, we've had problems with the public part of East Beach, the town beach, where you turn the corner on July 5th and there's garbage everywhere.
Oh, I saw this.
And I sent
Yeah,
pictures to you, I sent pictures.
I saw it was on Facebook, actually.
Yeah, and and even going down, they closed there at 8:30-ish at night when I was going down to close Cherry and Webb. It was like driving through a street festival. There were people racing up and down the street on the one-wheel electric unit.
Yeah.
And then there were kids running back and forth and dogs and people breaking out barbecue grills because Kevin lights off the fireworks,
Right.
Everybody wants to go down and watch it.
Right.
And then there's parking both sides, so East Beach Road is like this wide, people are darting in and out. And I have no problem, where it appeared to me, what I said was, if you want to blow yourself up on your private property, I don't care, just don't trash the town beach. Well, it got out of control because every year for the last couple of years, I'd turn the corner, I'd fill up my truck full of spent fireworks, throw it in the dumpster,
Right.
and then call Chris Gons out to the highway department, get guys down there to clean it up, get it out of there. Well, it was Friday this year, so they didn't work on Saturday. And Saturday was a gorgeous day, and people went to the beach, and there were fireworks in the surf, and there were fireworks, pizza boxes blown around, and broken bottles, and we had a number of complaints about that.
Yeah,
Who gets-
it was
who has
on
to clean it up?
Facebook, yeah.
Who's supposed to clean it up? And the question is, that's a good question. Because usually the highway department does a good job, they almost anticipate it. My phone call to go
Right.
down there and do the best job they can of getting all the garbage out of there, and I give them credit for that, but they're not gonna work on Saturday and Sunday on the 4th of July weekend.
It's true.
So what happens when that happens, when it's on a weekend? Because there were times where literally, a couple of truckloads full of garbage got hauled
Right.
away.
That's,
And now with this street, basically borderline street festival, and again, nothing to do with the private property. Don't care if you invite your friends on your private property, don't care if you set
Right.
off your fireworks, it's legal, but I don't care. Just don't trash the town beach, but now the town beach is being
Right.
trashed. So the idea basically is set up some kind of system, put the sign there, 8 o'clock, 3rd, 4th, and 5th next year, everybody's gone off the town beach. Don't care if you have a sticker, don't care what your excuse is, gone. That section of beach is not gonna be anybody parking there, to eliminate the problem of it being trashed, because nobody's gonna pick up in the morning at 5:30 before everybody comes back.
right.
And it's just a nightmare, and the police they don't have the resources on July 4th weekend to be sitting there at East Beach, telling people, oh, okay, don't do that, don't do this, it's not, you shouldn't have to babysit.
It would be fine with me because the homeowners have a right, and that's it.
But I don't think it's the homeowners, I don't think it has, because people, I'm watching people come there from all over.
Oh, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
And I see the trucks back up on the.
It's a beautiful
side
thing.
with
Fireworks
boxes
over the
full of
water,
Fireworks,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah,
Fireworks
And-
over the water.
Yeah, but then they leave the boxes.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's like.
I'm just saying
they
it's,
do it right, yeah.
I'm just saying it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But
It's great. And
Not
it
to
was good-
trash
it
the
was good For
beach.
a long time, but now it's gotten, so it's a destination place now for everybody who wants to do it. It wasn't just, my brother Joe.
Yeah, I got it. I
Sam
got
up
it.
the street.
I
It's like
understand.
the whole world's coming to light fireworks off the beach and leave the crap.
no, I understand it. Just,
So rather than deal with the million complaints and phone calls that I got, and emails and text messages and all the other things.
Right.
It's like, just 8 o'clock, supposed to be closed at 8 o'clock, doesn't really get enforced, we all know that, but 8 o'clock, see you later. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
fine, don't
You
let the
know,
door
and-
hit you in,
and it might be easier for everybody, the residents on East Beach, I'm not sure. I know the East Beach Improvement Association has a meeting coming up, I was gonna talk to them and see, it's not them. It's not
No,
them. It's-
no,
it's not-
they take care of their property. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm
yeah.
down there, I
And I
see,
understand,
I see they're picking up the trash that other people have
yeah,
left on the
exactly,
street.
and so, but it's like, there's no reason to trash the town beach or have people trash.
Or
the town
trash the whole
beach. Nobody
road.
had a sticker.
Yeah,
If I showed you the film on my dash cam, you would be horrified at there was a car in front of me, he was a white Audi SUV, he was right in front of me, and I was watching, he was navigating around people, and these people were racing down the street, both lanes, right at him. He was like, I saw him do one of these, like,
Yeah,
what am I supposed to
right.
do? I got nowhere to go, and it's just not right that but,
and plus your semi-skeleton crew for, police too.
yeah, well, the police, 4th of July week, they have a million places to be, and they don't need to be babysitting
Right,
everybody
exactly.
at the beach. They have their own issues to deal with, this shouldn't have to be one of them. So,
That's right.
we're meeting with, hopefully in the near future with Chris Dunn to figure out some kind of game plan, and then meet with the selectmen and say, here's what we think we should do, and to me, I was of the opinion of, put the flashing sign out there, no parking, July 3rd, 4th, 5th, 8 p.m. So, we put the highway department with sawhorses out there, they can. put,
Yeah, that's what I was
or
just
whatever
thinking.
or something,
It's the
but,
sawhorses that do it.
right up to the, and then everybody can go somewhere else, I don't care where they go, if they wanna, I know it's limited parking, I think that's the problem, that's part of the problem, but anyway, it's become a real issue now. It never used to be, but it's gotten.
I don't have a
the pictures
problem.
I took this year, you
Well, there are
realize.
no fireworks anywhere else.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's,
Problem.
yeah, and that is a problem.
we gotta go into Fall River and New Bedford, and that's, or Bristol.
Do your own.
you know. The question is, how do you fix all this problem and do all these things? And without making it a burden, and now, I understand. can't erase everybody who shoots off fireworks. And you wouldn't have a place big enough to put them, so,
I got it.
you know.
I got it. I
Yeah.
understand.
Yeah, it's just, you know, take your stuff with you.
Go to the Esplanade.
Yeah. Oh, no, even, I can't imagine what cleaning up there must look like, but now it's become the Esplanade South, you know, at East
Right,
Beach.
right.
So, anyway, so that's the only thing we had talked about, my issues. Would you have anything?
No,
How's, how's Beach
again, I
Avenue
just-
been? Doesn't have looked too bad. A
Looks
couple of times
fine,
I've been there.
been fine. I'm a little concerned, though, about when they cut through the dune at the town beach.
Right.
And, I mean, that's gonna just fill, first good storm, that's gonna, I mean, that opening is just gonna,
Well, the question is.
Wash
depends on-
away.
Woods Hole was asking me about that, and I said, it depends on a lot of things. If you have a bunch of little storms, it'll slowly build up and it might come back, like the dunes do at like Elton Rock. If you have a big storm, it's gonna be
yeah.
that much wider.
Well, I've got
It's
a
it's like
couple,
half
couple of
dozen-
ideas. One would be to actually go in the fall and
Well,
fill it up with sand.
Well, now the highway department's got a place to put all the sand that washes on the end of the road, so they can pick it up and put it over there.
Well, but just do that and then plow it out every spring.
Yeah.
If you can, you know, after the storms. Or the other idea would be to design a really sturdy gate that you could close when there's a storm.
Like a snow
That-
fence.
Well, my idea to Woods Hole group is that we want to put boulders there. I said, no, no.
Well, boulders where it might not, won't help
Well,
much.
boulders, if you have an emergency now, how do you move the boulder? You know,
Right.
so the idea is to put a gate
And
across.
Elephant Rock did this elaborate thing at the pond where it comes through.
Right.
And I'm not sure whether it's snow fence and, you know, big posts, sort of a labyrinth.
We talked about a, DCR gate, especially closed during the winter, especially down there.
Was there something like that exists, or would we have to design it?
Oh, no, they have it in a lot of beaches and stuff.
Yeah, well, there you go.
And that's what the plan would possibly be, depending on grant monies and all the other things and committee. So the plan would be to put it, where the parking ends, where the parking,
Well, I put it on the end where I put the.
Gate
a
across the-
solid gate across the dune,
right.
so that the way, and, high, and it would have to be really pretty sturdy, but, we could design
So they have them all over the place, like Cape Cod Seashore and stuff like that. They have things like that.
to keep
So-
sand from going through and open
Yeah.
the dune.
Yeah.
Well, there you go, okay,
So,
been done.
Yeah, because it's like everything else. It's like, this is the only place in the world where things like this happen, so this is.
Right.
Somebody has thought of a solution long
Should've
before
been
we did.
done. Okay, well, but I think that, so.
I've noticed there hasn't been as many people fishing, or maybe it's just.
Many people what?
Fishing off the Nubble like they usually is. And I don't know if that's a weather thing, or if it's just, I haven't noticed because before on a hot day, you'd see like,
Yeah.
look like a refugee in camp. Up there,
Yes.
you know what I mean? And now it hasn't been as bad, so.
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's why I was wondering if it was any better or worse, I'm not sure. I have not heard anything, either.
Yeah, well, it's been clean, I haven't picked up any trash out there.
Yeah, 'cause I noticed
Now,
that-
beach passes, handicap beach passes are necessary for that area. A regular beach
No, beach pass, you can park up to a certain point, like. 2
Right, right,
feet
very
down.
small area.
Yeah,
No,
and
it's
then there
pretty-
are 2 spaces at the end of the
Yeah,
road.
there's handicap
Right.
parking.
But those
and
are,
that.
that's a regular handicap parking sticker.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not a town.
I understand that. I've been down there
The
for that.
handicap commission gets all the ticket monies from the handicap fines. It's $300 a whack, so they have a little bit, not a lot of cash, but a little bit of cash they use. This is how they do the phone. But I haven't noticed or heard, maybe I just don't hear anymore, but any problems. Like we had some major trash problems, parking handicap spots.
So we travel to different states, and when you look at Massachusetts highways, and you look at other states, they just don't seem to be as bad. And it can't be because they have a larger budget to pick up trash. It's just that it's, I don't know. Noticeable, that's all I can say.
It is, it is what it is. But anyway, that's all I have.
All I have,
All right,
make a motion to adjourn,
at 5:32.
Second, that.
all in favor?
All in favor? Aye, aye, aye.
Aye.